Hey everybody, James Reeves with TFBTV here at the lovely Knoll Attack Range here in New Orleans, Louisiana, talking about the only 5 modifications that you need for your concealed carry Glock. And I mean it. There's only 5, at most, really 4.5. And by the way, the only shirt you need is a TFBTV throwback logo slim fit V-neck. You can get those in our Teespring store. You can see it right under the video if you're watching this on YouTube. We also make them in regular fit crew neck if you're that type of dude, but those are only 13 bucks. So go down, support us, help us out, buy a t-shirt on Teespring. Now, talking about the only 5 mods that you need for your concealed carry Glock, we're gonna go ahead and lead number 1 with an obvious one. Holsters. It blows my mind that you guys go out there, you'll get a brand new Glock, a Glock 19 or a Glock 43, and the first thing you'll buy is a Punisher slide plate or a dumbass rainbow titanium barrel, and then you'll go out and you'll get a cheap, like Uncle Mike's Universal, like $13 holster. No disrespect to Uncle Mike, of course, but you should budget for your carry gun to also get a holster specifically made for your gun that you're going to be comfortable carrying and that's going to be easy for you to use. Now, those are 2 separate things, and I want to harp on both of them. Comfortable for you to carry. You want something that is going to be comfortable. You're going to be carrying a 1 to 2 pound hunk of plastic and metal on you all day. If you feel uncomfortable doing that, if there's too much weight, if it rubs you the wrong way, if it's just uncomfortable, you're probably not going to do it. And what's the point of buying a gun for concealed carry if you're not going to carry it? So being comfortable is very important. Also, you want it to be effective. You want to be able to deploy it effectively. You want to be able to get to that gun when you need it, get it out quickly. A third thing, safe. You want something that's safe. Really what that means is it covers the trigger guard. Nothing can get into the trigger while you're carrying it concealed. If you've got that done, you're probably all right. Let me talk about a few of my faves real quick. I'm an ultra minimalist guy. So I have really been liking the Raven Vanguard 2. It basically covers just the trigger guard and it has a little clip in it that is tuckable. So what you can do is, what I do whenever I carry, especially if I'm carrying to work or if I'm wearing work clothes, I will tuck it into my pants. Then you take your shirt and your shirt simply tucks over the Vanguard holster into your pants. It's that easy, very quick to deploy, and I'm not kidding, guys. With a Glock 42 or a Glock 43, I swear I forget I'm wearing it. I also use, and this is an important sub point to holster, I also use a good belt. You're looking at either Blue Alpha Gear if you want a casual belt. They're the absolute best gun belts, and dollar for dollar, the EDC belts are as good as it gets for gun belts. So those are great for jeans or for casual attire. Now, if you are carrying to work or if you need something a little bit more formal, I really like the Magpul gun belts. They make the Magpul Tejas leather gun belts. I've got 2, absolutely love them. If I'm carrying with shorts, I really like the belly band. I already did a video on this about a year ago. It was my top 5 summer concealed carry methods. I love the belly band. It's fast, it's very comfortable, it's easy to use, it's safe, and it's cheap. It's like 30 bucks or something. I get mine, I think it's called Active Pro Gear. It used to be called Action Direct. I've been using the belly band from the same company for 15 years, like 15 years of carrying. I think they're fantastic. I get nothing from those guys. They saw my last video and they sent me a couple free ones, which I thought was really cool. We also had the guys from Justified Warfare Solutions send us a holster into TFBTV mailroom. It has something called the Ulti Clip. What's awesome about the Ulti Clip, you can carry with shorts. It's a big deal to me. If I'm wearing what I'm wearing now, which is shorts and a t-shirt, the Ulti Clip actually clips onto your waistband, gets a very firm grip, and with a Kydex holster, it makes it really easy to pull your pistol out of concealment, even if you're wearing something without a belt. Moving on to the number 2 modification and or accessory that you need for your Glock carry gun, ammo. Duh, should be obvious, right? But we're talking about 2 types of ammo. First, we're going to talk about personal defense ammo. You need a good, effective hollow point round. If you just went and bought something because somebody at the store recommended it, if you don't know what brand you have, if you don't know the grain weight, you haven't done enough research. Guys, we've got tons of ballistic gel tests on TFBTV. Get on the internet, do some research, find some good self-defense ammo, buy it. Buy a box to practice with, buy a box to carry with, just so you can kind of get the hang of it. I favor Federal 9BP LE, it's a plus P+. So if you're talking about ammunition, you have standard ammunition, then you have plus P, which means that it's available at 10% over SAMI spec. 9mm, among other calibers, like for example 38 Special, 45 ACP, they're available in plus P. So that means if you're carrying something like a Glock or a SIG, a gun that can handle that additional chamber pressure, you can get up to 10% more power out of your carry ammo if you get plus P. Highly recommend it. 9BPLE is a plus P+. That's unregulated. That's everything 11% more powerful and beyond. If it's more powerful than 110% of the standard loading, then it goes into the plus P+ category. Nobody will warrant you or warrant your gun for plus P+ because it's totally unregulated. Federal 9BPLE is a proven round that's been used by law enforcement for decades. I'm a huge fan. However, Andrew, our ballistics guy, he kind of picks on me because he says now there are more effective rounds available, but I know that Federal 9BPLE plus P+ has been putting dicks in the dirt for a long time and is very effective. Why carry an ineffective carry gun? Your carry gun will be ineffective if you don't use good ammo, so look into good ammo. But more importantly, buy some ammo to practice with. Of course, I buy my ammo from Ventura Munitions. They're a sponsor of the program. I'd buy from them regardless just because they have great prices and great service. I really like the quarter cases. If you don't want to blow $200, $300, $400, whatever the case may be, on a case of ammo, then you can go to Ventura Munitions, buy a quarter case, 250 rounds. It comes in a box, like one, all loose in one box, and it's stuff that they make. It's fantastic. It's brass case, so it's not going to be too hard on your gun like steel cased ammunition. It's going to work better than steel cased ammunition, be more reliable, and if you reload, you can reload with it. So I really push for Ventura Munitions, and what I really like are the Ventura Munitions 124 grain hollow point quarter cases, 250 rounds. At the time of filming, they're like 60 bucks. Now, why is this important for the range? It's all well and good to put ball ammo through your gun, but you really want to see how it performs with hollow point ammunition, because hollow point ammunition will reveal a gun's propensity to have failures to feed. It's not as smooth, right? The ball, it's kind of smooth ball ammo, so it's easy to load up that feed ramp. Hollow point has a flat front, so sometimes, and you're going to be carrying hollow point ammunition, so you want to know whether or not your hollow point ammo is going to feed through your carry gun. So it's great to buy hollow point ammunition on the cheap for use at the range. All right, so you got your holster, you got your ammo. Those are definitely the two most important things. So let's get to the third most important thing, and that is sights. Sights are definitely important, but it isn't like the sights that come on the factory Glock, the plastic factory sights. They're not that great, but it isn't like they don't work, right? They work. My personal favorite carry gun, the Glock 43, the only mods I have, of course, holsters and ammo. I have a single front tritium sight on this gun. Works just fine, especially for a teensy little subcompact 9mm. So I put sights as a number 3, but sights are also really important. Effective shot placement is critical to stopping a fight. Sights are critical to effective shot placement, so I guess by deduction, sights are critical to stopping a fight. And when we're talking about sights for a carry gun, we're talking about night sights. And I mean tritium night sights that's gonna glow for like 12 years, not those night sights that like you take and you charge them up with your flashlight or whatever and then they last like 30 minutes. Those are shit. Don't get those. We're talking about tritium night sights. Look at Ameriglow, look at Trigicon. I really like Glock's factory options. It's not much of an upcharge, between like $50 and maybe $100 or $120 depending on the set that you pick out. That would be cheaper than if you went to the store, bought your Glock, and then bought the sights and then had somebody else do it. And speaking of having somebody else do it, Glock does it at the factory and then they test fire it with the sights on. So you know that they're going to be on target whenever you get them from Glock. They're going to come factory warranted to work. So I really favor Glock's options. I favor the 3-dot night sights that have the white outline. They're much easier to use in the daytime than the ones that don't have that white outline around the tritium vials. It's just easier to see. Some people prefer the all blackout. and it'll light up at night. You'll have 3 green dots at night, but in the daytime, you're just looking at black sights. So I really like the white outline 3 dots. Now, my most favorite sights probably in the entire world right now are the Ameriglow bold sights that Glock introduced with the Gen 5 guns. This is available as a factory option. You're looking at green night sights, but you've got 2 dots in the back, and then you have a bright orange dot in the front that really grabs your attention. And any of you who've taken a pistol course, or if you know anything about shooting, you know, focus on the front sight. That's the most important thing. So I really like the Ameriglow Bold, also known as the Ameriglow Spartan sights, because they draw your attention to that bright orange front sight. And you also get effective night sights at night. If you're looking at third-party options, this Glock 19 I have equipped with what's called hacks or hackathorn sights. These are really neat. They're blacked out rear with a front night sight. In fact, this one's got the same Ameriglow front sight that you would see in the Ameriglow Bold or Spartan sights from the factory from Glock. I had a gunsmith put these in. Some people would say, why would you only have a front night sight? Well, it's actually pretty effective at night. I think the 3 dots perform a little bit better, but there's no risk of confusion. You just have that 1 dot and it makes it easy to index. Focus on that front dot and engage your target. So at least having a front night sight is very important. Moving on to number 4, we're talking forward slide serrations. Just kidding, you absolutely do not need those. We're talking magazines and magazine accessories, Hank Hill. When you buy your Glock, you're probably gonna have 2 magazines with it. That's too few. I like to have at least 3, because you never know if you want to carry 1 and have 2 spares, so at least 3, but I also like to have range mags. I also like to keep some mags new in the bag, just new in the wrap. You never know what's going to happen, if they could be banned, if the price is going to skyrocket on them, if they're going to stop being made. You never know what's going to happen, so it's a good idea to at least have like a half dozen mags for each gun. Now, as far as Glock goes, don't cheap out. Don't buy crappy third-party mags. I think that you can get away with Glock magazines. They're cheap enough, right? If you're lucky, you can find them for like under $20. That's not that expensive. How much money are you really gonna save with like whatever the Korean third-party magazines? Or you could go Magpul. Magpul makes great magazines for the Glock. I did a review years ago when they first came out on TFBTV where I absolutely beat the dog shit out of a Magpul magazine, even shot it with an AR-15, and it still worked. So those mags are pretty incredible, and they're even less expensive than the Glock mags. So if you're not going Glock, if you're not going Magpul, I probably just wouldn't screw with it, but buy a bunch of magazines. You also have other options with your magazines. So for example, this is a Glock 19. Maybe if I were going to carry a Glock 19 in a holster and carry 2 backup magazines, I'd probably carry the Glock 19 with my flush fit 15-round magazine, because that'll keep it lower profile on my holster. But if I'm gonna carry 1 or 2 backup magazines, I'll probably want the 17-rounders. They'll protrude a little bit like that whenever they're in a Glock 19, but that gives me an additional 4 rounds if I'm carrying 2 mags versus carrying 2 additional Glock 19 magazines. Magpul even does a great job of this with the GL12 magazine, which is a 12-round magazine for the Glock 26. The Glock 26 holds 10 rounds of 9mm. If you get the GL12 from Magpul, that holds 12 rounds, and it gives you a little place to rest your pinky. So when you go to that backup magazine, you're going to be shooting more effectively, and you're gonna have 2 extra rounds. I also like some magazine accessories. The only one I can really think of off the top of my head that I love are the Terran Tactical Innovation +1 base plates for the Glock 42 and the Glock 43. You add like maybe a few tenths of an inch to the overall length of the magazine, but you get an extra round. So you go from a 6+1 gun to a 7+1 gun with the Glock 42 or the Glock 43 using the Terran Tactical base plates, and they look pretty sweet too. For number 5, I like better controls. In fact, there are only 2, maybe 1 that I can think of that I would actually like. So if you've got any generation of Glock, a lot of people will complain about how dinky the slide releases, and that's understandable. A lot of people, especially novices, have a difficult time deploying this slide release because it's just a little piece of sheet metal that rides fairly close to the frame. I don't have a problem with it. I see people that do, and you know what? I really like the Glock extended magazine release that comes on like the 34 and the 35 MOS. It just barely adds just a little bump in the back of the slide release, and it makes it that much easier to gain purchase and to use. So I'm a big fan of those. I don't blame anybody for putting the Glock extended slide release on any of their Glock carry guns. If you have a Gen 4 or Gen 5 gun, stop the video. You're done. This is over. If you have a Gen 3 or earlier gun, there's one more option for you. Now, if you have a Gen 3 gun like this one, things are a little bit different. It's got the same general slide release that you have on the Gen 4 and the Gen 5s, pretty much all Glocks except for the out-of-the-box tournament-ready guns, but you can see it's got this teensy little guy, little fella mag release. A lot of people will get the extended magazine release. I cannot blame them. I do just fine with the Gen 3 guns as is. I'm not sure I would change it, especially if I was concealing it, because I feel like if you get an extended magazine release, it's going to deploy much easier if you're carrying it inadvertently. But that said, some people just need it. I've taught concealed weapons courses where people have a difficult time using the slide release, using the mag release on the standard Glocks. So if you want to change those out, I guess more power to you. That's my opinion as somebody who's carried a Glock for 15 years, virtually every day. That's how I feel. I think those are the only 5 upgrades that you need. Anything else is superfluous or you're just wasting your money. Go out, buy more ammo. Tell me what you think in the comments. And by the way, thanks a ton for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe or even consider supporting us on Patreon. We give away 1 gun a month. And once we hit 1,000 Patreon supporters, we're gonna give away 2 guns a month. You're automatically entered to win a gun if you're in the $5 or $10 supporter category. We're going to start giving away 2 guns a month once we hit 1,000 Patreon supporters. Thanks a ton as usual to Ventura Munitions. They supplied all the ammo for this range trip. Thanks again to Ventura Munitions. Anyways, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I will see you next week.